And trust me, there are a lot of candidates to possibly win this award, but I feel like there's only one person that can truly end with it, and that player, well, it's... Now, in order to assess who the MVP is, we first off need to find out who the candidates are. I've come down to about 5 names, and those names are Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid, Kevin Durant, Jayson Tatum, Giannis, and Luka Doncic. These are the 6 players that I think will have the biggest chance of winning the award towards the end of the season. I think it's only proper we start with Jokic, who I literally just made a video about him winning the MVP. I know when some people make their MVP videos, they don't put Jokic on it because they say there's no way he could win his 3rd MVP, and while I think it's definitely not probable, I'm not going to let it go on the record that Jokic didn't have an MVP-like season and that he's not playing up to that standard. This season, Nikola Jokic is averaging 25, 11, and 9. Also, I think it's important to note that the Nuggets are fighting for the 1st seed right now. They're tied with the Pelicans, they have the same record, so when this video comes out, there's a chance they could be the 1 seed. I literally just made an entire video, like I said, about this topic, but I'm gonna summarize my points. But essentially, it goes as that Nikola Jokic, for one, is having amazing stats, the Nuggets are one of the best teams in the West, and honestly the NBA, which is probably the biggest reason why people would argue that Jokic should not have won the MVP, especially back-to-back seasons. Also, Jokic is having one of the best statistical seasons in the NBA, at least as far as efficiency and other numbers like that go. So the narrative that he's just someone that's an advanced stats guy that's trying to fool the NBA nerds, that's just not true. Even the basic stats that a normal NBA fan could understand, Jokic is dominating in that aspect. With the way the Brooklyn Nets have been playing, I think Kevin Durant definitely deserves his respect. The Nets are on a 10-game win streak right now, and there's a very good chance they could be the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, but overall, if you ask me, they're playing like the best team in basketball right now. I'm not saying they're the best team, but they're sure as hell playing like it. The numbers Kevin Durant is having this season are very similar to his early 2013 Thunder days. I swear, aging in the NBA apparently does not exist anymore. I think if I wanted to make the argument for Kevin Durant to be the MVP, all I would have to show you is the fact that the Nets are dominating right now, and I think he's the biggest reason why. And the stats he's putting up are very reminiscent to his MVP year. If Brooklyn can end as the 1 seed and there's like a wide gap from the 1 seed to the 2 seed and Kevin Durant is averaging around the same numbers he is right now, as long as there's no injury to Kevin Durant that leaves him out for more than like 10 games, I think he should be in the race pretty consistently. And I'd argue maybe he should win it. The amount of things I can say about Luka Doncic wouldn't even fit in an 8-minute video. As far as stats go, he's having his best season, averaging about 34, 8, and 9, and he's shooting 50% from the field. Now, in order to win the MVP award, there's something very pivotal a player must do. They need that MVP performance or a 60, 21, and 10 game, which with the way it's looking right now, I don't think there's going to be a game this year that tops that. Even if someone scored like 70, what Luka did in that game is something that we're not going to see again this year. Now, if you want to go the route of string of games, well, let's look at this late December run by Luka. 50 points, 32 points, 60 points, 35 points, and 30 points. Oh, but there's something about the 30-point thing I didn't mention. I'm recording this on New Year's Eve night and I'm watching the games right now, and Luka has 30 at halftime. There is a very good chance that Luka ends with like 50.
Dallas 124, San Antonio 123. Tonight's Luka Doncic has 50 points.
This motherfucker actually ended with 51 points. A little fun fact, Luka Doncic in his career has had 4 50-plus point games. The last 3 have been in the past week and a half. This man Luka is different. Funny enough, he was my projection to win the MVP award. If Dallas can get to like the 3 seed and Luka Doncic is doing Luka Doncic things, I don't see a reason why he can't win. I'd be surprised if there's someone that comes even close to what Luka's doing right now. But there are still some people that have something to say. Jayson Tatum is having an amazing season, and he's playing on what I believe is the best team in the NBA in the Boston Celtics. Right now, Jayson Tatum is having a career season, averaging 31 points per game. I won't lie, his numbers look good, and Tatum as a whole has looked good. I remember last season he struggled to start off the year, and there was a conversation to be had about whether they should trade him or Jaylen Brown, or maybe even both, but now that take looks really bad, as both players are averaging a combined total of 60 points per game, and the stats, well, they don't lie, and they don't even tell the full story. Tatum this year has shown a level of consistency and being able to be reliable, which is one of the biggest things I've said about Jayson Tatum and why I thought in the past he can't win the MVP. My biggest issue with Jayson Tatum was consistency, however, he's proving me wrong. I also feel like Tatum has developed as a player, and I feel like his overall game is being a lot more complete. He's been very versatile this year, he can score anywhere on the court, and I feel like overall he's developed a really solid all-around game. I also think that Tatum has stepped up as a defender contender. In full transparency, at the end of this video, I will say who I think is going to win the MVP, but Tatum is definitely up there. Joel Embiid is a name that I feel like is always in the conversation, and he should win it up until like the final stretch of the year where he gets injured. I find it really funny that I've heard little to nothing about Joel Embiid winning the MVP, yet he's averaging 33 and 10. Also, if he keeps up the pace he is right now, he will shoot over 50% from the field for the first time in his career. The Sixers are currently 5th in the Eastern Conference right now, but again, in that conference, it is so close, so I think within a couple games, they'll be like the 3rd seed. Again, I think it is so strange that Embiid is averaging 33 and 10. The Sixers aren't doing that bad, yet I've heard nothing about him. To be honest, I didn't even know he was averaging 33 points per game. I thought he was averaging like 25, maybe 27 until I looked it up. However, if he continues to play at a high level and he leads his team to success, he could be in the running for the MVP award. And to be honest, if he keeps up what he's doing, I wouldn't be surprised if he won. Finally, we have Giannis, and I feel like this wouldn't be an MVP video if I didn't talk about Giannis. Something that I find very interesting is that 5 of the 6 players on this list, except Kevin Durant, have all had a career year so far. Giannis is averaging 32 and 11, and the Bucks are the 3rd seed in the Eastern Conference. I'm gonna be honest, y'all, I think we're spoiled. I think we take Giannis's playstyle for granted because he does this consistently, except he's doing more now. I think you guys know my take on this, but Giannis is by far the best player in the NBA, and second is not even close. The way Giannis is able to score at will, and the way he plays on both ends of the ball is impressive. I'm just gonna be real, I think the only reason why Giannis hasn't won that many MVP awards is just voter fatigue. Sure, some players have had a better season than him, but at the end of the day, what Giannis has done is something that we're never gonna see again. I don't know if people know this, but Giannis is also developing as a player even more than what he's already doing right now. Okay, so I just named the 6 candidates on who I think is going to win the actual MVP award. I've given pretty good reasons, and again, I think it's interesting that 5 out of these 6 players are all having career years. I think it's fascinating that for the past couple years, it seems like the MVP award is unpredictable. The amount of talent in the NBA is astonishing, and this is something that we are taking for granted. It seems like every other night, some players dropping like a 40 or 50 piece. So that's the NBA MVP race explained, but who do I think will win? After naming off 6 candidates, I've come down to 3 who I think will stand the test of time. I think by the end of the season, Jayson Tatum, Joel Embiid, and Luka will be the last 3 candidates remaining. The other 3 definitely could win the award, I just think this is going to be the final 3 candidates. Again, that's how much talent is in the NBA. It's kind of wild to think about. Now, there's one more factor that I think will unfortunately be the deciding factor of who wins the award. I mentioned earlier that Joel Embiid has lost the MVP at times because he got injured. And the unfortunate reality is that one of these players could be having an insane run, but an injury for like 10 to 15 games could throw away their whole case. I'm not saying Devin Booker was the main #1 option to win the award, but he was having a really good year until he got injured. So Booker's MVP chances are gone. He's not going to win the award or even be considered. And to be honest, I don't think he should. He hasn't played for like 15 games. And again, that's just one example. We can even go back to Joel Embiid and the many times that's happened to him. But okay, if injury plays a factor, there's nothing we can really do to predict it. So who do I think is going to win the award? Well, I think it's going to be Luka Doncic. Luka has had an amazing season, and he's also proved the media wrong multiple times. So if you want to see a video on times Luka Doncic has proved the media wrong, well, click the video right here.